37. Responsibility. May the 4th, 1954. Good morning, friends. Every now and then I get into an argument with someone who says it makes no difference what he does, that he is his own boss and can do exactly as he pleases. Usually such people are afraid that I'm going to tell them what to do, something which is not my business, and they do their best to declare their complete independence of God and man. Well, I've never seen the man who was yet able to succeed from the universe with any success. Try as they may, they still continue to live in the same world as we do, and that world is one of interdependence rather than independence. Every day we depend on each other, on the butcher, grocer, electrician, gas producer, farmer, policeman, carpenter, and 101 other men in the discharge of their various duties. We depend in all our living on one another. All this is obvious, of course, so let's push a little further. Our interdependence is not limited to our physical life. Emotionally and socially, we require the presence of others. There are times, of course, when we may want a little isolation, but basically we require fellowship. Solitary confinement is the severest punishment for criminals. The reasons why we require the presence of other people are several, but among the most important is this. In our thinking, feeling, and being, we are never in isolation. We are part of a group. We show our age and generation, not because we are products of society, but because our very life is society, community, and interdependence. We talk to others because communication is a necessity of our nature. We thrive in proportion to the love we are able to give and receive because our happiness increases as our interdependence and fellowship grows. In every man, mankind is present with all its potentialities and all its problems. We can talk about mankind and humanity only because of this common nature of man which makes us all akin. Man is society, he is mankind, and God, in creating him, declared, "It is not good that the man should be alone." Genesis 2:18. Socially and emotionally, man's life is one of interdependence. Thus, it is of utmost importance, since our lives are wrapped up in each other, what we do, for we cannot live to ourselves, nor can we limit the consequences of our actions to ourselves. As a result, people who say that they can do exactly as they please and that their life is their own business forget that our life is a common life, that is, a shared life, and that at no point can we succeed from the universe and sidestep our responsibility to God and to man. To try to do so is to be as foolish as the man who some years ago left Joppa for a brief journey across the Mediterranean Sea. As the old wooden sailing vessel met with bad weather, the ignorant native became sick and began to chop a hole underneath his berth and into the ship's side. When another passenger became upset at the chopping, the poor fool protested, "What difference does it make to you? The hole I'm chopping is under my berth." The obvious answer, of course, was that the hole could sink the ship and all of them with it. Every private act has its social consequences. You and I can never succeed from this consequential universe for a single moment or for a single act. We are, at every point in our lives, responsible persons. And to be responsible is to be dependent and interdependent. We are responsible to our fellow men because our lives are interrelated to theirs, and we are supremely responsible to God because He only is the Creator, Sustainer, and Redeemer. God has no responsibility toward us. His relationship to us is not one of obligation, but of pure grace and mercy. It is we who are responsible to Him. For this reason, Paul said, "For none of us liveth to himself, and no man dieth to himself. For whether we live unto the Lord, and whether we die unto the Lord. Whether we live, therefore, or die, we are the Lord's. For to this end Christ both died and rose and revived, that He might be the Lord, both of the dead and of the living." Romans 14:7-9. So then, every one of us shall give account of himself to God. Romans 14:12. It means that we are entirely the Lord's, having no authority over our life or death. We are doubly His by virtue of creation and redemption, and our life is one of responsibility and accountability. All creation reveals a mutual interdependence and a fullness of dependence upon God. Total dependence means total accountability, and therefore Paul declares that every act that does not spring from faith is sin. See Romans 14:23. Finally, to be responsible is to be in Christ, who perfectly discharged the duty of man to man and the obligation of man to God. In Him, our responsibility to God is fulfilled, and we are given the peace and freedom that comes with a debt discharged. In Him, we have the power to reveal this grace of God in our dealings with men and to show forth the life of the responsible Son of Man as He lives in us. In ourselves, we are rebels against all things. In Christ, we become responsible men. This is our strength, and He is our peace.